Hello everyone. Let us continue our study of SQL. In the previous video, we already discussed in detail about the basic structure of SQL, various SQL commands, the complex forms of SQL queries, etc. Right? So in this video, we cover some of the more advanced features of SQL. So let us start our discussion with the definition of a subprogram. A subprogram is nothing but a program unit which is meant for doing a particular task. Okay, so these subprograms can be combined to form larger programs. Okay, so as we said, subprogram is nothing but a program unit which is meant for doing a particular task. Okay, in SQL, these subprograms can be defined using the procedural component of SQL, that is using PL bar SQL. That PL stands for procedural language. So by using this PL bar SQL, these subprograms can be defined in SQL. So these subprograms are named PL bar SQL blocks which can be invoked with a set of parameters. PL bar SQL provides two kinds of subprograms, namely functions and procedures. Functions are subprograms which returns a single value, and it is mainly used to compute and return a value. Whereas the procedures are subprograms which do not return a value directly. It is mainly used to perform a particular action. Okay. Now let us look into the various reasons for using the subprograms in SQL. The first one is modularity. The subprograms breaks a program into smaller units called as modules, and these modules are well defined and manageable modules. So the first one is it supports the modular design. Second one is reusability. Any number of applications in many different environments can make use of the same subprogram. Okay, so the same subprogram can be used in different applications in different environments. The third one is maintainability. We can change the implementation details of a subprogram without changing its invokers. That is, without changing the other subprograms which calls it. Okay, so we can change a particular subprogram without changing its invokers. That is the maintainability. And the fourth point is the subprograms can be grouped into packages, which makes the code even more reusable. And the fifth point is better performance. That is, each subprogram is compiled and stored in executable form, which can be called repeatedly. And because the stored subprograms run in the database server, a single call over the network can start a large job. So this division of work reduces the network traffic and it improves the responses time. So if you are having these subprograms, we will be having a better performance, okay, which lowers the memory requirements and invocation overhead. Okay. Now let us look into the various parts of a PL bar SQL subprogram. Each PL bar SQL subprogram has a name and may also have a parameter list. As we know, two types of PL bar SQL blocks are there: anonymous PL bar SQL blocks and named blocks. This subprogram belongs to the named blocks. Like these anonymous PL bar SQL blocks, these named blocks will also have three parts: declarative part, executable part, and exception handling part. Among these three parts, the executable part is the only mandatory part. In the declarative part, the part consists of variable declarations. It contains declarations of cursors, constants, variables, etc. And this variable declaration or these items are local to the subprogram, and it stops its existence when the subprogram completes execution. That is, the scope of the variable declared within the declarative part of the subprogram is local to the subprogram. Okay. The second part is the executable part. This is the mandatory part, and this part contains the statements that perform the designated action. So these are the executable statements which is meant for performing a particular task. And the third part is the exception handling part. It contains the code that handles the runtime errors. Now let us discuss about the various parameter modes used in this subprogram. Three modes are there: in mode, out mode, and in-out mode. The in mode is the default mode, and this in parameter lets to pass a value to the subprogram. So this parameter can be used for giving a value to the subprogram, and it is a read-only parameter and it acts like a constant. So this in parameter can be a constant, a literal or initialized variable, or an expression, and these parameters are passed by reference. The second mode is out mode. This out parameter returns a value to the calling program. So that is, it outputs a value to the calling program. The in parameter inputs a value to the subprogram, whereas this out parameter outputs a value to the calling program. So inside the subprogram, an out parameter acts like a variable. So we can change its value and reference the value after assigning it. So the actual parameter must be a variable and it is passed by value. Okay. Also this out parameter returns a value to the calling program. Okay. Then the third mode is in-out mode. In-out mode, this parameter passes a value to the subprogram and returns a value to the caller program. Okay, so it works in both the in and out mode. So by means of this in mode, it gives an input value to the subprogram. It passes an initial value to the subprogram, and in the out mode, it returns an updated value to the calling program. So it can be assigned a value and the value can be read. Actual parameter must be a variable and is passed by value. The former parameter must be assigned a value. So these are the three parameter modes that are used in the subprograms. Now let us discuss about one of the subprogram, that's about functions. A function is nothing but a reusable program unit. It is a named program unit. A PL bar SQL function is a reusable program unit which is stored as an schema object in the Oracle database. Okay, so these functions are a type of stored code and they can be reused later. Okay, so this function can accept one, many or no parameters. This function should return a single value. It must have a return clause in the executable section of the function, and the data type of this return value must be declared in the header section of the function. Okay. And the output of the function can be assigned to a variable or it can be used in the select statement. Now let us look into the syntax for creating a function. Create or replace function, function name, parameter list, return, return data type, is or as, then the declarative section, begin, executable section, exception section, return, return data type, end, function name. The points that are specified within the square bracket is an optional one. So the keyword or replace, the parameter list, the function name, they are optional one. It is not necessary to specify these points. Okay. So this function, the syntax consists of two parts, a header and a body. So the function header has a function name and a return clause that specifies the data type of the returned value. Okay, and it specifies the parameter list also. Each parameter of the function can be either in the in, out or in-out mode. Okay, then comes the function body. The function body is the same as the PL bar SQL block, which has three subsections: the declarative section, the executable section, and the exception handling section. The declarative section is between the keyword is and begin and it is where we are going to declare the variables, constants, and user defined types. Okay, then the executable section is between the begin and end keywords, and it is where we are going to place the executable statements. And at the end of the executable statement, a return statement should be there. Okay, the exception handling section is where we are putting this exception handler code. Okay, in these three sections, only the executable section is the mandatory part, the others are optional. So the or replace keyword allows the modification of an existing function. So it creates a function or it replaces the existing function. So it modifies the existing function if you are specifying the option or replace. Then the optional parameter list contains name, mode, and the type of the parameters. For example, X in number, like that. So the parameter list contains name, mode, and type of the parameters. Then the return clause specifies the data type that returns from the function. The as and is keyword. The as keyword is used instead of the is keyword for creating a standalone function. As keyword is used when we are using a standalone function, whereas the is used if you are embedding this function in a program. Then the function body contains the executable part. So this is the syntax for creating a function. Okay, once we defined a function, and if you want to use a function, we need to call that function. Okay, so when a program calls a function, the program control will be transferred to the called function. A called function performs that particular task, and when its return statement is executed or when the last end statement is reached, it returns the program control back to the main program. Okay, so to call a function, pass the required parameters along with the function name, and if the function returns a value, store the return value if needed. Okay, so to call a function, we need to pass the required parameters along with the function name. Now let us look at an example. We are going to write a function which computes and returns the maximum among two values. Okay, so we are going to find out the maximum among two values. Okay, fine. So as we said, two main parts for every PL bar SQL program, the variable declaration part and the executable part. The variable declaration part, that is the declarative section, it starts with the keyword declare. So declare the three variables are using in the program A, B, and C. So we are defining the variables A as with the data type number. Similarly, B and C is defined. Okay, fine. Now let us move for creating a function. The function name is find max. So create or replace function find max x in number, y in number. So to the function name find max, we are passing two parameters x and y, and both are in mode. Okay, return number is, so the return type from this function is number. Okay, fine. So inside that function, I'm again creating a variable z number. So the scope of the variable z is within the subprogram only. Okay, so z number is defined. Then we are starting with the begin keyword. We are checking whether the parameters, among the parameters we specified two parameters x and y, so we are going to find out the maximum among x and y. We are checking whether the x is greater than y or not. If x is greater than y, then z is equal to x, else z is equal to y. And if, and we are returning the value of z and give the end statement. Okay, so this is the function definition part. Then if you want to make use of this function that we defined, that we just defined, we have to call that function. So how we are going to call the find max function? Let us write some other code. We are starting with the begin. and we are assigning the values for A, B, C, and we are assigning the values for A and B. A is equal to 1, 2, 3 and B is equal to 4, 5, 6. Okay, fine. We are going to find out these two values, maximum among these two values. C is equal to find max, and we are passing these two values as parameters A comma B. So this A will be given to the variable X and B will be assigned to the variable Y. Okay, so this notation can be called as positional notation. So the first variable will be assigned to the first variable in the parameter list. Okay, so A will be assigned to the variable X and B will be assigned to the variable Y, and we are going to execute that particular function. Okay, so as we said, whenever we are encountered with a function call, the control will be moving to the called function. Okay, so find max, so the control will be moving to the find max function definition. So the value of A will be assigned to X and B will be assigned to Y, and we are checking whether X is greater than Y, and if so, the value will be returned in the Z. Okay, so among the A and B, which one will be greater, that value will be assigned to the variable C, and it will be outputted with the help of dbms underscore output dot put underscore line function. Okay, so once the function is defined, we have to, if you want to make use of that, we have to call that particular function. Okay. Now let us discuss about a special table used in Oracle for evaluating expressions or calling functions. That is the dual table. It is a special one row, one column table, and it is a default table in Oracle. So in Oracle, select statement must have a from clause. So in the from clause, we have to specify the table details, right? Table list we have to specify. But some queries doesn't require any table. For example, select 10 plus 13 by 3 from a table. So this dual table can be used there. Okay, so this Oracle provides this special table which belongs to the user sys and is accessible to all the users. So select 10 plus 13 by 3 from dual. So this from dual is a default table used in Oracle, which consists of only one column named as dummy. Okay, and another example, select upper of good morning from 12. So in this case also, the from clause doesn't require any table. The purpose of this select statement is just convert that string to the uppercase. Okay, so in that case also we can specify the default table, that is the dual table. So this dual table is a special table used for evaluating expressions or for calling the functions. Now let us look into how we are making use of this dual table in our program. So here we are going to write a function to check whether the string is palindrome or not. So what is a palindrome? The string and its reverse should be equal, right? The string, the inputted string, when we are taking its reverse, that one also should be equal. Can you give me an example for a palindrome? Madam, M-A-D-A-M. So when we are writing from left to right or from right to left, it is equal. So we have to find out the reverse of the inputted string. So we are going to write a function. The function name is palin. We are passing the parameter input string to the palin function, and the return type is varchar 2. And we are declaring two variables, result and reverse string. Okay, in the begin section, we are selecting the reverse of input string into the variable rebstr from 12. So the reverse, it's a built-in function. So with the help of that function, we are reversing the inputted string, and that one is stored onto the variable rebstr. Then we are converting both the strings, inputted string as well as the reverse string, into uppercase to avoid the case clashes. Okay, so if upper of input string equal to upper of reverse string, then we can say that the inputted string is a palindrome. So we are returning a particular statement. We are returning the inputted string is a palindrome. Else we are returning another statement, input string is not a palindrome. Okay, and we are ending the function. So to call that function, we are calling the function name Palin. Select Palin of computer from 12. Palin, it accepts one parameter, right? Input string should be passed to this function. Palin is the function name. So how to call a particular function? Function name in bracket the parameter list. Here we are having one parameter, that is the input string. So Palin comma in bracket the inputted string here is computer. Okay, we are giving that one, and we are making use of this dual table, and we'll be getting the output as it is not a palindrome, right? Select Palin of Malayalam from dual. Look at that word, it consists of some case mixes, right? It is a mix of cases, right? So it returns as with palindrome. Input string is palindrome. Okay, similarly the third case also, it is a palindrome string. Okay, now let us discuss about the recursive functions. Recursive functions are nothing but the functions that calls itself. Okay, so we are going to find out the factorial of a number. So the function name is fact, and we are passing that number as the parameter to the function fact. The return type is number, and we are declaring a function, we are declaring a variable f. Then in the executable section, we are checking whether the value of x is equal to 0. If so, f is equal to 1. Else f is equal to x into factorial of x minus 1. How to find out the factorial of a number? If you want to find out the factorial of 5, 5 factorial is equal to 5 into 4 factorial. Again 5 into 4 into 3 factorial. Again 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 factorial. Again 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 factorial. Right. Then 1 factorial means, again what to do? Again we have to perform this x minus 1. 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 into 0 factorial. If x is equal to 0, it will return with 1. F is equal to 1. So this function need to call itself, right? So if x is equal to 0, then f should be equal to 1. Else f is equal to x into factorial of x minus 1. 5 into 4 factorial x minus 1 factorial of 5 minus 1, right? So that particular loop should execute until x is equal to 0. Then we are returning the value of f. Then in the function calling, look at that, we are passing the value num is equal to 5. Then the variable factorial is equal to fact of num. That fact is the function name. So the how to call a function, we have to specify the function name, and in brackets we have to specify the parameter list. Here we are having only one parameter. Okay, x is the parameter. So this num will be assigned to the variable x, and that particular loop will be executed, and it finds out the factorial of a number, and it will be stored in the variable factorial. Okay, and we are outputting that one using this dbms output.put line function. Okay, that's about how to find out the factorial of a number. Now let's see how these functions can be used for interacting with the databases. We are going to create and call a function that returns the total number of customers in the customers table. Okay, we need to find out the total number of customers. That means we need to perform an aggregate function named as count star on the customer table. Okay, fine. We are going to create a function for that. Create or replace function. Function name is total customers. We are not passing any parameter. No parameter is required. Okay, so function name is total customers. Then return type is number, is, then the parameter, then the variable total number of 2 is equal to 0. Okay, fine. Moving to the executable section, begin, then the select statement, select count star into total from customers. So we are performing this aggregate function count star on the customers table, and the value will be stored onto the variable total. and we are returning that variable return total. Okay, then let us look into how we are going to call that function. Again, we are writing the function code declare. We are using the variable name C here. Then begin C is equal to, we are calling this function total customers. Here we are not having any parameters. Though we are not having any parameters, then we have to specify the empty parenthesis. Look at that parenthesis. It is not a square bracket. It is an parenthesis. Okay, code parenthesis. Okay, code brackets. Okay, then dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. Then we are outputting the value of C. Okay, so we are calling a function using its function name followed by the parameter list. So in this case, we are interacting with the database. The database name is, the table name is customers. Okay, using this select statement, we are getting the data from the customer table. Now let us look at another example. Here also we are interacting with the relations. Create a function that gives the department, given with the department name, it returns the count of the number of instructors in the department. So if you are giving the department name as MCA, it should be returned as with the total number of instructors that belongs to the MCA department. Okay, so here we have to get the details from the instructor table. So we are creating a function, create function total instructors. We have to pass the department name, right? So that one will be passed as the parameter department name varchar of 20. Then returns integer is, then declare the integer a variable as an integer, dcount as an integer variable. Then in the begin, select count star into dcount from instructor where the instructor dot department name is equal to the passed department name, and we are returning the dcount value. Okay, so we are getting the details from the instructor. We are counting the number of instructors from the instructor table based on the instructor table, and that one will be stored onto the variable dcount. Okay, so here we are checking the where condition, the where clause, we are checking one condition, right? So the table's department name should be equal to the department name that we are passing as the parameter. Okay, so if you want to call that function, we are giving the command as select department name comma budget from instructor where total instructors of department name greater than 12. So this total instructor, that is the function name that we just created, right? And we are passing the department name as MCA. So total instructors greater than the department name with greater than 12 number will be displayed. Okay. SQL standard supports functions that can return tables as results, and such functions are called table functions. So till now in all our examples, we are returning the variable as either as varchar2 or integer or number like that, right? So this SQL supports returning tables also as a result. So the keyword table should be used for that. Okay, so let us see one example. Create function instructors of department name varchar of 20 returns table is, then we are giving some variable declarations, id, name, department name, salary, all the 4 variables are declared. Then return table. Okay, so we are returning as a table. So this table consists of 4 attributes, id, name, department name and salary. Okay, then the select statement, select id comma name comma department name comma salary from instructor where instructor dot department name is equal to instructors underscore of dot department name. So this instructors dot of, that is the function that we just created, and we are passing one parameter to that function, right? So that department name should be passed here. So here we are making use of this dot operator. Okay, so we are checking whether the department name in the instructor table is same as the pass parameter that we passed to the function instructors of. For example, select star from table instructors of finance. So this finance is the parameter. So that one will be assigned to the variable department name, and we are checking the instructor table whether the instructor table's department name is equal to finance or not. If so, the ID name and department name and the salary from that instructor table will be displayed. Okay, so this type of functions are called table functions. So the SQL allows returning tables also. So once you created your function in Oracle, we might need to find that we need to remove it from the database. So the drop function statement allows to drop a standalone stored function from the database. And the syntax is drop function function name. Example, drop function palin. Here please note that we are not specifying any parameter list while defining the function name, though they are having the parameter while defining the function. Okay, so while dropping the function, we just need to specify the function name. So the database invalidates any local objects that depend on or call the dropped function. Okay, so it returns with error if you are trying to access this dropped function. Okay, so this drop function statement can be used for dropping a function. Okay, so in this video we discussed about the functions, the create function statement, then the recursive functions, how the functions can be used for interacting with the database, then the drop function statement, right? Thank you.